Why you lose control and how to take it back. You know the world feels heavy when you wake up and your first thought is a silent question. Why does my life feel like it is slipping out of my hands? What if the real reason your life feels out of control is because you were trained to ignore the part of you that is screaming the truth? My name is Wasson. This is Learn English Listening. This is where we stop pretending. This is where we stop carrying the weight alone. You are here because something inside you is restless. You might look calm to the world, but inside you feel like a storm that nobody sees. You wake up tired even after a full night of sleep. You stare at your phone hoping for direction, but every message drains you. Every headline makes your chest tighten. Before we go deeper, I want to ask you something. Where are you watching this from, and what time of the day is it for you right now? Your answer matters, because the moment you name where you are, something inside you becomes real. If you have been feeling like your days are getting louder and your mind is getting quieter, you are not alone. What you call stress is not weakness. It is your nervous system fighting to keep you standing in a world that demands too much. If you have ever felt a quiet fear inside your chest, with no clear reason, this video is for you. Let us begin. There is a truth most people never say out loud. You are not losing control. You are overloaded. Your brain was not built to handle this constant noise, the pressure, the expectations, the endless responsibilities. The world tells you to stay strong, but you have been strong for too long without a single breath of rest. You know that feeling when your mind becomes foggy, when you sit down to work, but your thoughts scatter like leaves in wind. That is not laziness. That is not failure. That is your mind trapped in permanent alert mode. A silent emergency inside you that never turns off. Your shoulders stay tense. Your chest feels tight even on quiet days. Your heart beats faster when nothing is wrong. Let me ask you something, and I want you to answer in the comments. When was the last time you felt truly calm? Some of you will say a long time ago. Some of you will say you cannot remember. And that answer alone tells us everything. You try to be productive. You try to stay focused. You try to show up for everyone. But something inside you is tired in a way that sleep cannot fix. You cancel messages because you have nothing left to give. You avoid calls because you cannot pretend to be fine. You lose motivation not because you do not care, but because your inner world is running on empty. The truth is simple. You are having a normal human response to an abnormal world. Your mind is trying to protect you, but the protection feels like exhaustion. The moment you understand this, everything begins to shift. And now we move to the moment that changes everything. Here is the hidden key most people never learn. You are not failing. You are stuck inside a pattern that your mind created to survive, and the only way out is to understand the pattern. The first phrase you need to learn is emotional bandwidth. Emotional bandwidth means the amount of feelings your mind can handle before it shuts down. When your emotional bandwidth is full, even a simple message from a friend can feel overwhelming. You are not avoiding people. Your capacity is drained. The second phrase is crisis mode. Crisis mode is the state where your brain focuses only on survival. It stops dreaming. It stops planning. It only tries to keep you safe. When you are in crisis mode, every small task feels huge. Making a decision feels impossible. You think you are stuck, but in reality your mind is simply protecting you. The third phrase is thought loop. A thought loop is a repeated pattern of fear or doubt that circles in your mind without an exit. It sounds like the same sentence repeating again and again. It convinces you that nothing will change. It convinces you that you cannot move. But it is only a loop, not a truth. Let me ask you something. Which of these three phrases describes your life the most right now? Emotional bandwidth, crisis mode, or thought loop? Your answer matters, because once you can name the state you are in, you take back power. You break the illusion that you are the problem. The real problem is the loop that has been running unchecked. Your life does not need a full reset. It needs a break in the loop, and that is what we create next. There is another layer to all of this that you may have never noticed. Your mind does not judge you the way you judge yourself. It simply measures signals. When you push past your limits without rest, those signals blur. When you ignore your emotions, the signals distort. And when you pretend everything is fine, the signals collapse. This is why identifying emotional bandwidth, crisis mode, and your thought loop is so important. Naming these patterns gives your mind a map. Without a map, every path feels wrong. Every choice feels risky. Every future looks uncertain. But once you see the shape of your inner world, even confusion becomes manageable. You stop fighting shadows. You begin working with truth. This is your first real step toward clarity. You have reached the turning point. This is where your life stops repeating the same cycle and begins to move in a new direction. Listen closely. Your life does not change when the world becomes easier. Your life changes when you become stronger than the chaos around you. That strength does not appear in one moment. It begins with one tiny action that breaks the loop. Imagine this. You wake up in the morning with that familiar heaviness in your chest. The same thoughts begin to repeat, the same doubts, the same feeling of being behind. But today, something different happens. Instead of letting the loop pull you under, you do one small thing. You take one slow breath. You drink one sip of water. You stand up for a brief moment and feel your feet on the floor. That single action sends a message to your mind. I am here. I am choosing this moment. I am not trapped. This is how you rebuild strength, not by forcing yourself to be heroic, but by creating small wins that remind your mind that you can move. 1 inch, one choice, one moment at a time. Every small win rebuilds your emotional bandwidth. Every small win pulls you out of crisis mode. Every small win interrupts the thought loop. Let me ask you something. What is the one thing you have been avoiding? Say it out loud in the comments. Naming it breaks its power. Avoidance grows in silence. Courage grows when spoken. This moment is your turning point. Not because everything is perfect, but because you are finally refusing to stay trapped in the same pattern. You are choosing to move forward. Even a tiny step counts. Even a quiet step counts. Progress is not loud. It is steady. There will be days when that tiny action feels too small to matter, but that is exactly why it works. Small actions slip under the radar of fear. They bypass the resistance that usually stops you. They remind your body that movement is still possible even when motivation is gone. And here is something powerful. Every small action you choose in a difficult moment becomes evidence. Evidence that you can move even when the weight is heavy. Evidence that you can choose direction even in uncertainty. Evidence that your life responds to your decisions, not to your doubts. This evidence is what slowly rebuilds your confidence. Not fake confidence, not loud confidence, but the quiet, unshakable kind that grows from proving to yourself that you are capable of more than your fear suggests. Let us bring everything home. The world will not slow down for you. Life will not wait for the perfect moment. But you do not need perfect conditions to begin again. You only need one clear decision. Your future does not depend on the noise around you. It depends on the choices you make in the next hour, in the next breath, in the next small action that breaks the loop you once feared. You do not need to rebuild your entire life this week. You do not need a perfect routine. You do not need a flawless plan. What you need is awareness. The awareness to see when you are slipping back into crisis mode. The awareness to pause before your thoughts form another loop. The awareness to choose one simple action that signals strength instead of surrender. Let me ask you one final question. At this moment, you stand between comfort and growth. Which path will you take? Say it in the comments. This decision is not for me. It is for you, for the person you are becoming, for the life that is waiting for you on the other side of consistency. If this video gave you something true, something useful, something that helped you breathe a little deeper, share it with someone who is carrying too much today, someone who hides fatigue behind a smile, someone who needs to hear that progress is possible, even in small steps. And subscribe to Learn English Listening, where we build clarity and strength one choice at a time. Your journey is not over. It is just beginning.